Hey Greg, let's talk bourbon. At least that's what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, to be honest with you, I'm afraid. I might have done something stupid. So, have you ever been to the store and you're checking out, you're heading out the door, and behind the cashier, you see a couple of bottles that are limited edition, hard to find. There they are, sitting right there. And you say, "Hey, what's up with those two bottles?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, we just got those in. Yeah, we got the bourbon and we got the rye. We got one left of the bourbon and four left of the rye." And I'm like, "Oh man, so this is a distillery that I've never tried before. It's kind of been on my radar screen, but I don't know if I like it or not, right?" And here are these two limited release bottles that I've been thinking about. And so I figure, okay, I tell the cashier, I'll take the rye. I'll take the bourbon, the one that's only one left. And if I like it, since there's four of the rye, so if I like it, I'll come back tomorrow and pick up the rye. And he says, no. He says, these bottles will be gone today. He says, if you want these bottles, you need to buy them now. Apparently, this was their second shipment of these. When they got their first shipment, they disappeared in a day. And this one bottle of the bourbon and four bottles of the rye were all they had left of the shipment they had just gotten that day of them. But of course they advertise these things on the internet, so people are coming in specifically for these bottles, and that's why they just got them behind the cash register. And so I'm like, oh, man, it might be a long time before I see these bottles again. So I did it. I just jumped for it. So fine, I'll take both bottles. And I don't know. I'm really worried. I don't know. Did I waste $100? They were about $80 each. Did I waste $160? That's the question. So what bottles am I talking about? Well, these bottles. So we've got Grizzly Beast and we've got Rocket Top from Redwood Empire. Okay, so like I said, I haven't tried anything from Redwood Empire yet. So I've been on my radar screen. I really haven't been interested in trying the basic stuff that they've got on the shelf for like $35. It just didn't seem appealing to me. I know that they have those same products they've got out there as a barrel strength version for like 90 or so. And I've been thinking about maybe picking one of those up if I see it, try it out. But here I was, these limited release bottles. These both happen to be bottled in bond. They were both about $80, but they're hard to find. And they're not going to be part of their standard lineup, right? These are just kind of limited release. So, I don't know. Here we are. If I don't like it, I wasted $160. So, before I dive in, let's just read the bottle a little bit here. All right? So, Grizzly Beast, it says here, "The mountains are calling and I must go." All right. So, it was distilled in spring of 2018, bottled in 2023. The lot size was 105 bottles. This happens to be batch number 3. Now here's the mash bill. It's pretty interesting. 68% corn, 20% rye, 5% wheat, 5% barley, and 2% Tiktikali. Now, if you're wondering, what in the world's Tiktikali? I had to look it up. It's apparently a lot like a rye. It's has a different level of sweetness, and it's apparently at its peak at a different time of year than rye is. So it's got some pros and cons. I don't know. I've never tried anything with triticale in it before, and that makes it 5 grains. 5 grains in this bourbon. So notice that the rye is about 20%. So does that make it a high rye? I don't know. It's kind of borderline. Anyways, let's also read what else they got on here. Single season, single distillery. This rare whiskey was bottled under the strictest tenets of the Bottled in Bond Act of 1897, aged in temperate climate of the Northern California coast. The original distillate was altered only by the addition of pure water from the Russian River Valley aquifer. This is the purest expression of Redwood Empire craft. So that little statement's on both bottles. Now, Grizzly Beast. What does Grizzly Beast mean? Redwood Empire stretches from San Francisco to Humboldt Bay to the Oregon border. The region is home to majestic coastal redwoods, some more than 2,000 years old. And the name Grizzly Beast is a combination of two trees, the grizzly giant and the giant sequoia, located in Yosemite National Park, that has over 2 billion leaves. I can't imagine a tree with 2 billion leaves. And the multi-beast, a mature 375-foot coastal redwood located in Humboldt Redwood State Park. So, oh, and it's aged for 5 years. So that is the bourbon, a 5 grain, like I said. So the rye, Rocket Top, has a lot of the same language on it. Also was distilled in spring of 2018, bottled in June of 2023. The lot size was only 63 barrels. This also happens to be from batch 3. The mash bill is 86% rye, 7% malted barley, 5% wheat, 2% corn. So it's a 4 grain. I'm not going to reread the same language, but what is the Rocket Top? The Patriarch Forest in Humboldt Redwood State Park is home to Rocket Top, a tree that resembles a 365-foot tall bottle rocket. This rye is a complex and extraordinary as the tree that it represents. All right, I stumbled on that a little bit, but there you go. So these are named after trees, big trees. Well, all right, I put it off long enough. Now I gotta try it and find out if I screwed up on buying these bottles. Let's go with the bourbon first. It's got a good strong nose. I would say that a combination of cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice. Oh, I think cinnamon's in allspice, if I'm not mistaken. Those are what hit my nose first. There's also that maltiness back there. And there's some higher notes there of some caramel, but not nearly as prevalent. And there might also be a touch of cocoa powder. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of touch of cocoa powder in there as well. So that's what the Grizzly Beast here, that's what it's on the nose. Pretty tasty. Touch proofy. Not terrible, but a touch proofy. You know that almost a graham cracker and that cocoa powder. It kind of mixed up in that graham cracker is that allspice kind of flavor, you know, baking spice kind of mixed in there, right? That's mostly what this tastes like. There's a little sweetness, maybe a little brown sugar. So maybe these graham crackers are the brown sugar coated ones. Those are always really good. Mom always had a pack of those around the house. Those were always good. Pretty tasty. And the nice thing about it is that it's good, it's strong flavor, for 100 proof, but it's not overpowering. And the finish is it's a really nice, comfortable finish. If I had a criticism about it, I would say I would like a little bit more high note on this, right? I would like a little bit more sweetness to it. But this is really tasty. And it doesn't have anything negative detracting from it. There's no bitter oak, there's no dry oak, there's no, nothing like that going on. There is, I suppose, if you think about it, you look for it. Yeah, there's a touch of oak back there, and maybe there's a touch of dryness to it that kind of adds to that, kind of helps to add to that graham crackery kind of taste, because it gives you that kind of dry, powdery kind of aspect. And you mix that with the maltiness, and you mix that with the allspice, and you kind of come up with this graham crackery kind of flavor. Covered with a little bit of brown sugar. Yeah, it's pretty damn tasty. What I want to know is, triticale. What part of this flavor came from triticale? I was hoping that there would be like something like, wow, that must be the triticale. But okay, I don't necessarily get that. It is very soft, and so this does have wheat, right? It's got 5% wheat in it. And I think that's the wheat doing its thing. It's got that, which is just kind of that mellowness that wheat provides. I don't know, it's pretty good. For $80, I'm not disappointed with that. In fact, I would love to get this in a blind and see how it does. Now, granted, I'm also going to point out that I'm drinking here the neck pours, so theoretically the bottle should just get better from here, right? All right, so let's try the rye, the rocket top. Now that smells good. I love the smell of rice. I don't know about you guys, but I just love the smell of a good rye. I don't necessarily like it on the palate as much. I think in general, I typically like bourbons on the palate more than ryes. But a good rye just smells so good. This has got cloves, grass, lemongrass. But, not just the lemongrass, right? The lemongrass like you might cook with, but then the grass like fresh cut grass, right? Dandelions. And there's maybe even a touch of honeysuckle. I'm like looking for the high notes here, and I got a touch of a honey flavor that mixed with the rye-ish type notes kind of gives it like a honeysuckle note. And at the bottom, I can kind of get a touch of that allspice there. All right, on the palate. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Now I've only got about 6 or 7 ryes. So I'm not the biggest rye drinker in the world. I would love to put this in a blind up against the ryes I own. I mean, it might not fare well against something that is finished, like say seagrass, because that apricot brandy and seagrass it's just so freaking good. But if you stay away from, the finished stuff, and you just go straight up rise. Wow, this is good. Wow, and it's almost like candy on the finish. You end up with like a wow. So how is it that it comes back around to like a confectionery sugar, a little bit of a minty confectionery sugar finish? Spearmint, I think. I think I would call it spearmint. I don't know if I've ever had anything that comes back around to a sweet finish like that. Usually you only get the sweetness on the front of the palate, and then it gets destroyed by the back of the palate, right? So this, it starts out, the front of the palate's short, but sweet. Then you kind of get that cloves, allspice, lemongrass kind of mixed note there in the mid to late palate. And then, if you just let it kind of linger in your mouth, that kind of dissipates and it kind of leaves behind the note that it started with, this confectionery sugar with spearmint. It's really good. I think of my unfinished rise, I gotta believe that this is the best one I've got. I'm gonna have to do a blind. Wow. That's really tasty. Now that I get into it more, I'm starting to get a touch of dry oak, which is kind of resulting in like a powdery flavor in my mouth. I had something similar. Don't want to waste those drops. I had something similar on this one. That little bit of dryness, kind of that powderiness, kind of gives you that either that cocoa powder or that graham cracker kind of helps to go along those lines. Now that was happening in this one, and this one I don't really have so much of a malty flavor. In this one there was more malty flavor. In this one I don't get quite as much maltiness. I suppose there's a little bit there. So I'm having a hard time putting a finger on what the powder is. But I think I'm coming around to being it more of a, it's not a cocoa powder, it's not that sweet, it's kind of a dark chocolate. Yeah, but not like baking chocolate. Not bitter. But yeah, kind of powdery dark chocolate. It's kind of a minor note that's kind of comes in late. This is really good. All right. So, bottom line, I went out and just spur of the moment here, just decided, sure, I will spend an extra $160 and grab these two bottles, these limited bottles that I might not see again or might take me a year to find again or whatever, right? So I went ahead and grabbed them while they were available. And not only am I not disappointed, I gotta say, so in this one here, I think this one will rank well, but might not be a winner, but will be a good showing amongst the bourbons. And this one, I gotta tell you, this Rocket Top is fantastic. I'm serious. I really think I'm gonna have to do a blind maybe later this week and do my unfinished rise. And I just think this is going to finish number one right here. This is really good. So there you go, Greg. Let me know what you think. And now that I've had these, I am very, very interested in trying to get my hands on the Pipe Dream cast strength and the, I can't think of the name of the rye cast strength, but of the cast strength versions of their standard stuff. I guess I'm going to have to get out there and try to find those, because these are good. So, anyways, Greg, let me know what you think. Peace out.